Question number 5. Toilet and incontinence. How do you manage with that? In this episode of your PAP, how your disability affects you. I'll put this somewhere. Hello, I'm your host, Zack, and Merry Christmas. So in this episode, as you've seen, I'm gonna take you through how to answer the questions using the toilet and managing incontinence. All of the information I'm gonna give I'm using in this mini series is from Citizen Advice Bureau, benefitsandwork.gov.org. I'm always forgetting, and of course the website of the government, which is gov.uk. So let's get started. I'm gonna start with the citizen advice. Managing toilet needs. What this question means. This question is about how your condition make it difficult for you to get on and off an adapted toilet seat. Clean yourself afterwards. If applicable, managing your incontinence. The DWP is not interested in the difficulties you have getting to the bathroom or managing your clothes. For example, unzipping your trouser or undoing a belt. Yeah, full stop. If you have difficulties with this, you can explain them in the following question, which is going to be the following video. Try not to feel embarrassed, miss out information, or put on a brave face. Actually, this is fact. If you do so, the DWP won't get a true picture on how your condition affects you, and this make it harder to get PIP for you. And question number 7A, it would be: Do you use an aid or appliance to get to the toilet or managing incontinence? Yes, no, sometimes. Cool. And I'm gonna Before I start with the question. Yeah. So what so benefitsandwork.gov.uk, it's the website. What is this activity about? This activity is about your ability to reliably get on and off the toilet, empty your bladder and bowels, and clean yourself. It also covers the use of collecting devices such as colostomy bag. If it makes you a long time, you can do it safely to a reasonable standard, or as often as you need to. Then you should definitely complete this section. The descriptors. What the law says you score points. I'm not going to read how many points you get. The law. Remember what words like unaided, prompting, supervision, and assistance appears in many activities and have strict legal definition. In this activity, the following words and phrases also have strict legal definitions, as shown below in italics. And it's only toilet needs means getting on and off an adapted toilet, evacuating the bladder and bowel, and cleaning oneself afterwards. If you have an adapted toilet, you will need to explain what problem you would have if you try to use an adapted one. Guidance for health professionals tells them to ignore any problems with managing clothing, climbing stairs, or getting to or from the toilet. So remember, if you have something like that, they're not going to take into considerations. And the other word will be manage incontinence. That means managing involuntary evacuation of the bowel or bladder, including use of a collecting device or self-catheterization, and clean oneself afterwards. Question 7A, activity 5, but question number 7, sorry. Does your condition affect you using the toilet or managing incontinence? Only put a cross in the no box if you are sure that this activity doesn't apply to you. You should consider the information above, including whether the descriptors apply to you, taking into account the definitions and whether you can do it reliably. If you are unsure, try answering the 6 questions under 7B below. Then 7B, tell us about the difficulties you have using the toilets and managing incontinence and how you manage them. This is an opportunity to explain in your own words why you should score points for this activity. Your answer should cover all the following 6 points. And completing the form. The following 6 points cover the evidence you need to provide when you complete the form. So listen carefully. Oh, it's quite a lot. Point number 1. What condition caused your problems? You need to make the link between the effects of the condition and the problems you have with using the toilet and managing incontinence. Otherwise, the decision maker may argue that you simply prefer to have help or use aids. Number 2. What are the problems you have? You need to explain in as much detail as possible what problems you have. As I will explain in reliably, the most important P word above, you need to include details about the time. Does it take you more than twice as long as other people? How safely? Is there any danger to you or anyone else? Standards. How well can you do it, and does it cause you issues such as pain, fatigue, or breathlessness? And repeatedly, can you do it as often as it reasonably required? So if you're physically able to use a toilet without help, but for example it will take you a great deal of time to do so, or there will be a risk of you falling while it's getting on and off the toilet, then you may score points for this activity. According to law and DWP guidance, this activity does not include managing your clothing before and after using the toilet. For example, undoing and doing up zip and buttons, for example. This is because that's already covered in the dressing and undressing activity. So if you go to the toilet, okay, but you have problem, just take off your clothes to sit or whatever, then we're not going to get points on this activity. And don't think that, they might connect it with the actual activity. No, they're not going to do that. That's what I thought the first time. So maybe one of my answers can combine with, let's say, a different question that I got confused, but they're not going to do that. It's also unlikely to cover getting to on and from the toilet from another room. You should include details of any problems you have with remembering emptying your bladder or bowel, needing encouragement to use the toilet because it is painful or distress for you. You need reminding to use the toilet because you have an injury, which means you cannot tell when your bowels or bladder is full. Transferring from a wheelchair to the toilet and back again, getting on and off the toilet, sitting safely on the toilet, wiping yourself, dealing with leakage from a stomach device, remembering to check if a collecting bag is full, keeping a stomach side clean, and changing a collective bag. Number 3, do you use aid or appliances? If because of your health condition or disability you need to use aid and appliances to go to the toilet or managing incontinence, you should get 2 points for descriptor 5b, unless a higher scoring descriptor also applies to you. If you don't use them, please read on because the decision maker may say that you should and award fewer points unless you deal with this. This kind of things that might be relevant include commode, raised toilet seats, bottom wiper, there's more, incontinence pads, even if you worn as a precautionary measure, stoma bag, also known as a colostomy bag, large easy press flush lever, flush guard rails, surround rails, toilet seat, infrared flash, the one you do this and when you go to without touching it, step to raise feet, squatty potty, and bowel irrigation kit. Caution: decision maker may argue that you could use an aid or appliances as an alternative to prompting supervision or assistance from another person. If there is a reason why the aid or appliance would not mean you didn't need help, explain why. For example, a bottom wiper would not remove the need for assistance if you lack the grip or dexterity to use it. Makes sense? Caution: guidance for health professionals tells them that the use of commode should only score points if it is needed in relation to continue rather than mobility. So if you would be incontinent if you did not have a commode nearby due to a bladder condition that caused you urgency, you should score points. But if you use a commode because you have great difficulty walking to the toilet, that is viewed as mobility problem and no points will be awarded. I know it's a little bit F up, but yeah. Number 4, should you have help from another person? Help includes help you need but you don't get. So if you cope with going to the toilet or managing incontinence because you don't have help but you aren't safe getting on and off the toilet, for example, then give detail. Number 5, is there a particular time or of the day when you have problem? If there's a time of the day when you need to do an activity but you can't, then you should score points even if you can do it other times of the day. Using the toilet and managing incontinence are activities that you need to be able to do throughout the day and night. So if there's a particular time of the day when you have difficulties, no matter the time, no matter what time it would be, perhaps because of our fatigue, even though you can manage it at other times, you should score points. Number 6, do your abilities vary? If your condition affects you in the same way all the time, it is important that you say so. If your condition is variable, it is equally important that you explain how it varies and how this affects you affects what you do. To get points, you need to show that you are affected for more than 50% of the day over a 12 months period. So if you say that you can't do it just only in the morning, then it's not 50%, it's 30%, I think. If there are usually period of days or months when you are able to do an activity, then then explain this and give your best estimate of how much of the time this is. Although they are used repeatedly, although they are usually periods of days, weeks or months when you are able to do an activity, then explain this and give your best estimate on how much of the time. Although they are used repeatedly on the PAP form, don't use the word good days unless there are days when you have no problem at all, because this is what the DWP are likely to take them to mean. So if you see in the question, like, do you have any good days and bad days, and write how many you have, blah blah, just write that you have only bad. If you write any good days, they might you're gonna get a response that you can do it all the time, and that's a fact as well. Sample and answers. Try answering the 6 questions. One, what conditions cause you problems? What are the problems you have? Do you use aid or appliances? Is it there a particular time of the day when you have problems? And do your ability vary? Please note, the following, they're just examples of kinds of reformations you may wish to give. They're not correct answers of any sorts. But it is vital that you give detailed evidence rather than just ticking boxes. You don't need to put the numbers in. That's just to show you how the system works. I mean, they mean the numbers that they're here. Example 1. Because of my multiple sclerosis, I have very little strength in my legs to the degree that I am not mainly restricted to a wheelchair. I also have tremors in my arms that prevent me from reliably support my weight. Because of this, I am unable to transfer from a wheelchair to a toilet. I have a modified toilet, but I still need help from another person with transferring to and from it. 5. I have this problem at any time of the day or night. And 6. And every day of the week. Another 2 examples. Because of Crohn's diseases, I have stomach device and I also have arthritis in my hands. Following my colostomy, I developed a hernia below the incision site. This has affected the efficiency of the stomach, caused it to leak facial matter, which in turn has created skin problems, ulcers, and constant cold odor. Even a small amount of leak means that I need to wash and change, and it is not possible to apply any kind of pads because of the position of the stomach. The stomach bag is fiddly, and I have problems changing it and cleaning up the area around it because of the arthritis in my hands. I can manage to do this myself in the afternoon and evenings, but not usually in the morning when my hands are at the stiffest and most difficult to use. I need help on average 5 days a week. Last one, I have hypermobility. I have hypermobility due to Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. This gives me stress incontinence. Things such as coughing or laughing cause urinary incontinence. This is embarrassing and inconvenient as they stop me waiting to go out. I use an incontinence pad to stop leakage and damage to clothes and furniture. I can manage using the pad myself. This condition affects me throughout the day and every day. And that was the samples. Now if you want to give more details, you can do it on your when you get the form. You have something like that. So if you have any extra information to say, just write them here. Okay. So what you need to do in question number 7, managing the toilet needs. Why write down if you need to use an aid such as commode, raised toilet seats, bottom wiper, or bidet. I'll be dead. Let them know if you need help, even if you're using an aid. If there is an aid that could help, but you let them know if you need help, even when you use an aid. If there's an aid that could help, but you cannot use it, explain why. For instance, you may not use. Write down if you need to use an applications. For example, securing a clothing bag or washing around to prevent physical infection. And that was how to answer the PAP questions, managing toilet needs and incontinence. If you haven't done so, please click the like button and subscribe to my channel, and have a look on the other. I make a video about the descriptors, what they meant, and if you haven't watched the previous episodes, please do so. So when the time comes to complete your form, you'll have no problem on whatsoever. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.